too many opioid-based narcotics available to people who get addicted to them, too many deaths from drug abuse, and too little inaction from the federal authorities to stem the tide, a group of area residents organized a rally at Manchester's Town Green on Thursday, August 31st, timed to coincide with similar fed-up rallies held elsewhere across the country, including one in Washington, D.C. The event drew people to the Town Green where they could check out exhibits and displays, meet people involved in recovery efforts from the disease of addiction, hear music and several speakers who address different aspects of the now widely recognized epidemic of opioids. Wendy Galbraith was one of the organizers of the local Fed Up rally in Manchester, who addressed the assembled crowd and talked about what brought them here.
Fed Up is a grassroots coalition of organizations on the front line of our nation's opioid epidemic. People are uniting their voice as one and demanding the federal government for an urgent and coordinated response to our national opioid epidemic, which has been called the worst drug epidemic in U.S. history. Our friends, our families, and our local communities have been impacted by this crisis. Nationwide, opioid addiction is up 900% since 1997. In 2015, there were 33,000 opioid deaths. In 2016, there were over 50,000. For every overdose death, there are about 800 people with substance use disorder. This is only the tip of the iceberg. We're seeing an increase in HIV and hepatitis C, babies born addicted, crime on the increase, and families becoming devastated.
Recently on GNet TV, Galbraith talked about her own personal experiences with the opioid epidemic.
Addiction first knocked on my doorstep when my ex-husband, currently ex-husband, was an alcoholic. And it was my greatest fear that disease would be passed on to one of my children, and my worst nightmares came true. When my son had a car accident about 2 years ago, and he was prescribed pain medication for the pain he suffered. As that pain medicine, the prescription ran out, he continued to seek drugs for the pain, and so he turned to street drugs, and the Oxycontin was very expensive, and eventually he turned to heroin. I didn't know about this. I just saw his life starting to fall apart, and when he started to reach to me for financial help, I realized that there was a real problem. A DUI followed, and it was just an ongoing downward spiral. And as a parent, when you love your child and you want to help them and you don't have any idea how to help them, so this whole addiction was foreign to me. Heroin was a word I didn't speak. The stigma that went along with it, I was afraid to ask for help. And obviously he was afraid to tell me that he needed help. So it was months and months went by, further downward spiraling. Eventually he asked for help, and he came to my house. And within a 24-hour period, I had to figure out, while my child began to detox on my couch, what to do, where to go, who to call, how to handle this. He proceeded to detox on the couch, and that's what we did because there was no place to take him.
Other speakers followed her to the podium, including people in recovery from addiction, such as Ken Zigsbury, the executive director of the Turning Point Center in Bennington, and who was recently named to a state commission on the opioid epidemic.
He's convinced our doctors to start adding questions to your normal physical was regarding pain. You don't go into a physical thinking about pain. You don't go into a doctor's physical thinking about pain. The doctor has put it in your head because he's asking you the question. He asks you that question. Do you have any pain? Between 0 and 10, how much pain? You had a 7 or higher back in the early millennium, you got prescribed opiates. Okay? And then, if you were lucky enough not to get addicted, you set them up in your medicine cabinet for the next generation to come along and experiment with them. So that's what basically happened. You know that the United States only has 5% of the global population. Do you know that we use 90% of the pain medications in this world? Something wrong there. A lot of people in this community are doing a lot of good things. We started recognizing this epidemic a long time ago. It just took our legislators a lot longer to catch up with us, like the president.
Linda Joy Sullivan, a local state representative, talked about initiatives underway in Montpelier, or what she hopes to see getting underway in Montpelier.
We need to make our vision be grander. We need to make our vision be more profound. Our objectives have to have action that actually produces something that's going to be productive. And that is a very difficult thing to do. I have brought forth with Legislative Council a draft bill, and I'm going to give you some of the elements, and I hope that in January, when I get back into the legislature with the helps of the other legislators and all of you who are going to meet with me and email me and call me and give me your insight, that we will make something good happen. So I think that we need to put real teeth into what are now just guidelines.
Others, like Reverend Kathy Clark and policeman Chris Mason, talked about why they were there.
So essentially we're here because we want to show our support for this rally and to show the community that we are also involved and are actually frustrated just like everybody else is about the opioid epidemic and the people that suffer from alcoholism and things like that. So we're out here to show our support.
I've come two reasons. One is professionally, because I often come into contact with folks who are either battling addictions themselves or are concerned about a family member or friend, and so being aware of all the resources and what we can do to support and encourage folks to get the help they need was the main reason I came. But I also came because I have a nephew who's been battling opioid addiction for a while and has been in and out of jail, and so as a support to my sister and brother-in-law and to my nephew, wanting to just come in the spirit of support and, again, more information.
Another rally is scheduled in Bennington for 11 a.m. on Saturday, September 16th, sponsored by the Turning Point Center. For more information about this rally, call Turning Point at 802-442-9700. For the GNET TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.